Welcome to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm Lyndell Werling, your host for this episode. With us today, we have a wonderful panel of ladies, and we're here on the show to talk about issues of importance to women in real estate: health, beauty, fitness, and lifestyle. On my right is Pauline Woelky, and she is with United One Realty. We also have Teresa Vo, who is a real estate broker, and she is with Vo Property and Investments. And at the end of the table, we have Kimberly Sievert, and she is with the New School of Architecture and Design. She is an assistant to the president. What we'll spend the next few moments discussing is a little bit of a topic that's close to my heart. As a personal stylist, I enjoy and love talking about image and the importance of it. I'd like to start with you, Pauline. Can you share with us what your view of image is and why it's important, especially to women in business?
Well, it's really important because if you dress well, you feel good, and you're going to perform better. And I think that, people do judge a book by a first cover.
Absolutely.
And so if you're professional, clean, put together, they'll probably take you more seriously. So
Indeed.
yeah, and it's hard because we are, amongst men, and they can put on a suit, but we have to make sure that we look appropriate.
There's a lot of considerations for women, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah.
I agree.
So can't show too much.
Yes. Teresa. Yes. Now you're the owner of a very successful company. Talk to us about what your views are. Why is image important? How do women need to take advantage of presenting the right image?
So I started in this business when I was 19 years old. So for me, making a lasting and professional impression was a necessity. I had no choice. So in the beginning, actually, I wore a lot of just full suits. Now, pretty much like my first impression is kind of like I'm dressed today. But really, it's important. Your first impression is a statement. And I think, there's so many studies out there that say it ranges from like 1/10 of a second to 90 seconds, where when the people first meet you, that's when they form their first opinion.
Yes,
so,
that's true.
You only have one shot to make your first impression.
So it's indeed very important.
Yes.
Yes. Kimberly, I have the same question for you. Can you share with us what image means, the importance of it? And in your realm, people are about coming to be educated to advance their careers in their lives. So maybe they can, forget about what they're wearing because they're there to study and learn. But share with us, if you will, what your perception of it is.
Absolutely. I feel that style is so varied across people as individuals. You will see one person that every day will look very polished in what is considered a standard look, maybe very buttoned down, while someone else can be so much more out of the box, very avant-garde, and it's still very polished, but in a very different way. I think as long as someone knows what their individual style is and has honed it, you'll always look professional because you feel great. Luckily, working at a design and architecture school, we get to see such a myriad of different styles, and each person presents themselves very well because it reflects also across their work and in their own personal style. So there's never just one box of what is considered a style, and we're constantly reminded of that where we are, and it's a wonderful place to be.
I agree. And that's an interesting point, that different styles, whether it's avant-garde or more traditional, represent the person that's wearing the clothes, and the same type of result can be achieved. One in which your message is heard, one in which you have credibility, and you can be successful, Pauline. I think you talked about that with when we go out into the world, we need to think about not just what we're wearing for the functional aspect, but how we present ourselves. So how about one example that you might have where you either felt that the image you were wearing, the clothes you were wearing, really got a good result?
Anytime I always, anytime I stand, I do some speaking at I'm a board of director for our association and stuff. So anytime I'm wearing a nice dress, I always feel confident, good. I can project and, talk to the other agents and so forth. But there's also another, if you're too flashy, if I go up to a listing appointment and I've got, a Rolex on and diamond earrings, the, homeowners might think that I might be making too much money, or
You're not getting.
Realtors were.
I know, right?
You might not establish rapport with somebody if your image is too different from their perception, maybe.
Right, exactly. So there's ways to cut it back a little bit sometimes, and those are things.
That's a very good point. That is a really good point to resonate with whoever you're working with. Teresa, when you mentioned you were 19, I imagine that not just starting your business, but creating a way in which you could similarly establish rapport with people that perhaps were older and maybe a little bit more financially savvy than some of your younger clients. You had to think about what you wore and how you presented yourself.
Absolutely. It was like Pauline said earlier, like not too much skin. If you want to be taken seriously, you have to dress seriously. And at one point, your confidence will speak for itself. But again, there is a first impression that you have to make. And then once you have more interaction with the client, then of course you can get more relaxed and casual. But like I said, you only have one chance to make a first impression. And
We know that's true.
yeah.
And the significance of your first impression is going to stick with you for a very, very long time. And it's wonderful to be able to use what you wear to project the right image that you've selected for yourself.
Exactly.
I know when I first got in the business, one of your first impressions are your business cards. So I was taught that whatever you're wearing on your business card, it should be what you show up in when you're dealing with clients or people.
You would never give somebody a tattered business card, so you would dress according to the level of professionalism.
Right, so yeah.
And it's actually surprising how many people don't spend the money they should on their business card.
Yeah.
Personally, in my opinion.
Probably a big mistake.
Yeah, but if your business card has a suit and tie and you show up in jeans and a shirt, you're projecting the wrong image right away.
It's a mismatch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So.
Kimberly, I know, again, because you're in a world where you have a lot of intelligent, talented people, do you see people not paying attention to their image, and how perhaps does that impact or not impact them?
Absolutely. I think for many of the students that are just out of high school or a community college transfer, they may not have discovered what their personal style is as of yet, and hopefully in being surrounded by other creatives, they can start to hone what is theirs and to start to bring to light what they feel comfortable in, and maybe gather information from other people to say, I like this piece of what that person's wearing, I like what that person has designed. Maybe I then can come together creatively in my own head to say, I'm going to mishmash these pieces together to make something new. And we've actually seen a lot of creativity come a long way from those that are new to the design field, and it's really wonderful to see someone blossom from when they first come onto campus. They're young, they're budding, they're just starting out, and by the time they graduate, it's this polished young professional who's already been offered 5 different jobs because they've put themselves together mentally, physically, emotionally, and through their work. And it's a really wonderful transition to see. But I think it's very important for somebody to figure out what works for you and to figure out your own personal style, very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that the synchronicity of what we say and how we carry ourselves and body language is very, very important. But I think sometimes people don't consciously take into account that what we wear is a physical manifestation of that. So it becomes an important aspect of the full business package. People have a wonderful website, they might have a wonderful product or service, but they have to carry that forward, as you mentioned in speaking. Can you share with us a tip for somebody who maybe is listening to this and saying, I need to take the meter and move the needle to a more professional level, since it sounds like you know how to maybe go between different images for different environments?
I would, first you gotta, like you're saying, you know yourself, know your style. You wanna be comfortable in what you're wearing. You wanna love what you're wearing, because then you're gonna project confidence and, be able to connect with your consumer or buyer or seller. So I would just say, know yourself and be happy
Wonderful.
with what you wear. So.
I love it. Teresa, anything you can add?
Like, you can't be confident if you're not comfortable. Like, if you're sitting there and you're fidgety and your clothes is too tight and it doesn't fit, there's nothing comfortable about that. I think, honestly, the outfit makes a statement, but really
Absolutely.
your biggest assets are going to be your smile and your confidence.
And your qualifications.
Absolutely, and that all carries through. So I
Yes.
think you should wear your smile and confidence well.
I agree.
I would say definitely learn your own brand, figure out what that is.
I
Take
love
the
that.
time to figure out what is your brand so that people recognize it once they see you, and
it takes
hone
time.
it, make it work, and
dress
then
for your body type too.
Yes.
absolutely, but then to stay consistent.
All right, stay right with us. We'll be right back with more conversation around image and appearance. Welcome back. I'm Lyndell Werling, your host for The Finest Women in Real Estate. We're talking today about the professional attire, what should be worn, how to do it, and we're back with another segment on what it means to actually look professional and how you go about it. So today's day and age, we know that things have changed. Attire is more casual, people are working from home in co-working spaces. But what does it mean to you, and how do you see other real estate agents and professionals embodying a professional look? What makes it professional, and what's great about that, Pauline?
Well, I think you're prone to listen or be more attracted to somebody who looks clean and polished. But again, there's different personalities. So sometimes you can connect in different ways, but and also social media makes a huge difference too.
It certainly does. In social media, we could go down the road of, is there too much editing? Is there too much emphasis on it? But it lives forever. So I think it is important to consider your image when you put it out there online, because it's probably true that many of the clients you guys come into contact with do research on you before they decide to work with you. So that is an important component of selling yourself and being a trustworthy partner in an important transaction or process.
Yeah. I have my clients on my Facebook, as friends, so they're seeing everything that I'm doing. So.
Yes, that's wonderful. Teresa, what do you think about professional attire, how people are doing correct dressing for their station in life, and maybe some areas to be more cognizant of?
Sure. Like I mentioned before, I definitely think the first impression is the most important one. But after that, you can get we live in San Diego, so you can definitely get more casual and relaxed. But the first time I meet a client, I'm definitely dressed normally, in a dress and pumps. After that, there's actually times, especially in real estate, things come up last minute. There are times I have to run to a home and I'm in yoga clothes. And my clients are perfectly fine with it, because by then I've already established my reputation. They know my work ethic, my professionalism, and how I perform for them. So there's nothing to prove. But I think in the beginning, when somebody doesn't know you yet, they are going to make a judgment about you. And so you want your clothes, your presentation in general, to reflect your professionalism.
Yes, you work so hard to get to where you are. Why let an impression that's really not authentic to you come in the way of a client that could be a client?
Absolutely. And I think in San Diego, we have a tendency to go more casual. Like, you see everybody wearing flip-flops. So, and that's fine. I also dress for comfort. On days I know I have to show more than 2 homes, then I always wear flats. But it doesn't have to be flip-flops. They can be nice flats. So
there is a difference, isn't
choose
there?
your clothes well.
I was brought up in a professional environment that taught, at any given time, if you were to meet an executive or someone of importance, would you feel comfortable in how you look in that moment? So whether it be a casual Friday appearance or a set board of directors appearance, you should always look presentable in such a way that says, if I were to meet someone of importance where it could directly result in some sort of a transaction in the future, do I look okay today to meet or exceed in that moment? That's what's been my driving force, as well as also when I meet with others. Did they put enough effort into themselves for the day that, by chance, you never know who you're going to meet or what's going to happen. So it's always important to present yourself.
Yes. Many years ago, while I was a student, I had an instructor that said, don't put your name on anything that you're not proud of. And it seems to me that your image and what you wear and how you conduct yourself is kind of a continuation of that. So on the other side, are there habits or environments in which you've seen people really miss the mark and it's impacted your ultimate impression of them, Pauline?
Yeah, as far as when my sellers are home and another agent is showing a property, I think, depending how they dress and look, it could affect my sellers' decisions, on what's going on. Like, I'm dressed and they're dressed casual. So
clothing sends cues. It sends cues about so many nonverbal important things that allow us to establish rapport and credibility and trustworthiness. So that's absolutely true.
She is right. Sometimes we don't wake up like this, you know.
No.
We got to go.
I wish I did.
You know, when if someone wants to see a house, they want to see it right away, and you go off and you apologize, say sorry, you know, and most of the time at that point, you're
that you showed up.
Yeah, exactly. That you're working. So
yes.
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because we put this effort into making sure we're presentable and professional. But I work with a lot of investors, and so in terms of like, I never make. It's funny that I can say people can make a judgment about me, but the opposite is that I actually don't make any judgments about when I first meet people, because I've worked with many wealthy people and you would never know it. Like, I know millionaires who wear the same 2 outfits so they don't have to think about anything. And you would just never know. So I don't think it says everything. Again, I think the most important thing is your confidence. It's how you walk, how you talk.
It's not superficial. It's a part of the full representation.
It's how you interact with
bring.
people.
I mean, you can overdress too. For
Absolutely.
different, you know,
although I would rather be overdressed than underdressed.
Yeah. There's a quote about that from Oscar Wilde. You can never be overeducated or overdressed.
That's a good one.
It's a good point. Kimberly, I know that you shared with me a little bit about being from the South, and that shapes your impression of everything from manners to how you dress. Can you give us a tip that maybe those of us born and raised outside of an environment like that might be able to take advantage of?
Absolutely. I learned so much from my mother. She's absolutely my idol. When they say some people are a force of nature, Lorraine Henderson is definitely one. And she always taught us it's important to sit up straight, be polite and courteous, and present yourself in the best way possible. So I feel it's extremely important to know it's always better to be not necessarily overdressed, but look appropriate for the occasion. We're Southern, we don't think there's such a thing as being overdressed.
I love that.
Being appropriate is important. You would not necessarily wear a t-shirt to a cotillion.
No,
there I go,
please
using Southern
don't.
terminology, cotillion. Yet it's important to look a specific way that says, I'm comfortable in myself, I'm confident, but yet I shouldn't feel ashamed in what I'm wearing with who I'm speaking with.
I think it's a value, right? You know, we have the names that we've inherited from our families, and our conduct and our clothing and all that we bring is a reflection on not just us, but our families, our companies, and maybe we can think of that to make it easier. Do you have a hack, a tip, a shortcut for everybody who's trying to balance all the priorities of motherhood, career, health, happiness?
Oh, yes. I do wear flip-flops. I have an extra pair of flip-flops in the car so I can take my heels off.
I do too.
While I, go pick up those kids, and it's helpful. But just get up in the morning and get dressed. If you're going to stay home at work, still get up and get dressed, because I think you're going to be way more productive in the day.
No pajamas?
No pajamas, no.
It's a good rule of thumb.
That's how you feel too.
It really does.
It sure does.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Teresa, share with us something that is a way in which you can be at your best, but not spend a tremendous amount of time and overinvest in being your best.
Sure. Well, I like fashion. I like bargain shopping. So I would say I actually enjoy it. I know there's a lot of people who don't. And if it's not enjoyable to you, don't do it. I would say get a stylist.
I like that tip. Kimberly, I'm really interested in hearing your tips. You're so well put together, and it sounds like something that isn't just an offset of being here today. It sounds like something that is important to you.
It's extremely important to me, yes, thank you. I have a 6-year-old daughter who I'm trying to mimic what I was brought up in an environment of. My mother every day looked amazing, and she still does to this day. So now that I have my own little person that I'm introducing into the world of what it means to be confident, know what your own personal brand is, she already is seeing that. And it makes me extremely proud, because she's learning. She's learning that you should look a certain way. You should always look presentable. But know what's comfortable for you. But if I had any tip to give, I would say take care of yourself first, because if you're not at your best, how can you serve others?
That's
Many
true.
people forget that. Always take care of yourself.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to come back to you, Pauline, and you do speaking, you do open houses, you do all of this, and you get comfortable sometimes. Is it a challenge to do all of these things in one day? Can you make it happen?
Yes, it can be challenging, but thankfully for technology and, with the cell phone, I do a lot of work while I'm, in between places running around. So being able to have availability to emails and, calling clients and so forth. So
That's empowering.
It is. It is.
Inspiring.
And my kids are great. I go, I'm on the phone. And they don't speak in the car.
Love
they stay
it.
quiet. They're well trained.
Love it. Stay right with us. We will be right back. I'm Lyndell Werling, your host for the Finest Women in Real Estate. Welcome back. I'm Lyndell Werling. I'm your host for the Finest Women in Real Estate. And as a personal stylist, this is my favorite part of our episode. We're going to talk about each of these lovely ladies' outfits and why they work. So we'll start with Pauline. And one of my favorites is color blocking. What it does is it slenderizes a silhouette. So you have a dark color, and a light color. And it creates an illusion, although she has a wonderful physique, of being slender, longer, and who does not want that? The other thing that I like about your outfit is you've chosen not to put an accessory with it, like a big necklace, and you got to know when to say when you're getting dressed. You also have a wonderful T-strap shoe, and I'll point out for everybody who's considering footwear that looks as elegant, that having a platform under the front of your shoe allows you to stand in it for longer. It adds more comfort, and of course it adds height. And at my vertical challenged height, I love those shoes. Wonderful job. I really like what you did and love how you look today.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on to Teresa because she's got something a little bit different than the rest of us. And her outfit is monochrome, one color. It goes from head to toe, including her shoe. And the pointed closed-toe pump elongates the leg and the entire silhouette. Again, who doesn't want that? I know I do. I love that you also have a necklace with it, and it's very, very elegant. You have beautiful pearls, you have an accessory, and as anyone who's stressed for time and in a hurry to get to their next obligation knows, adding an accessory sometimes is a last thought, but I love that she did. It looks beautiful. And the last piece, which is a huge clue to look thinner and narrower, and not that you need to, is the peplum around the waist. These are key wardrobe pieces that I encourage people to invest in and always have in their wardrobe. Very well done. I love the look, and I applaud how you pulled it together. When we go on to Kimberly, I want to spend a really nice moment talking about her look because what she's done is very different than the rest of us, and I think it looks magnificent. Color, pattern, texture, and style. She incorporated all of that with a beautiful print. It's bold, it's colorful, and I believe that's your personality. So it's just a natural extension of your glamour. And the complementary primary colors, and you've got big and little in that print, and you have a really beautiful silhouette across the chest that is drawing the attention up to your face. And she is a magnificent woman, but that dress just takes it right to the next level.
Thank you.
The last piece is a favorite of mine, red. I love the color red. If I could wear it every day, I would. And a beautiful pump. You've got a lot to look at, and then you finished it with a complimentary but a very elegant shoe. You could have done anything with it, but you made that business by keeping it closed-toed. Patent leather is very conservative, and again, it just finishes the look. One other thing that I love about what Kimberly's done, my personal favorite is jewelry, can you tell? And she added some beautiful bracelets. You too elected not to use a necklace, and I think it works very, very well with what you've selected. In ultimately each of these looks, it's a dress. A dress is an outfit in and of itself. It makes it quicker, it makes it easier, and we appreciate you watching our show. I'm Lyndell Werling. Thank you for tuning in. Come back to us next time.